Namo Arihantanam, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Ayariyanam, Namo Vadhayanam, Namo Loe Savasahunam, Eso Panch Namo Karo, Sava Pavapanasaro, Manglanancha Savesinch, Padmam Havai Mangalam. Good evening, everyone. Today we have Sir Maruti Nandan Tiwari sir, and he headed the Department of History of Art at Banaras Hindu University, and also he was the Professor Emeritus at the same department. At the same time, he's a recipient of many awards, and he was even invited to President's Estate twice by Dr. Shankar Dayal and K.R. Narayan, and he was even awarded the Acharya Narendra Deva Puraskar by Hindi Samarthan, then the Indira Gandhi National Raja Bhasha Award at Delhi, and then Hemacharya Award. And currently, he's the recipient of Nehru Trust Fellowship. And Sir Tiwari has given many lectures outside of India at University of Cardiff in the UK, then Nehru Centre, then London, and at Berlin University. And currently, he's also the Vice Chairman of Indian Art at History of Congress in Guwahati. A very warm welcome, sir. We are so glad that you are here with us. Sir, you're not audible. Now you are.
Now, audible. Yes.
Thank you.
So, thank you very much for the introduction. Presently,
Yes,
I am Tagore. Presently, I am Tagore National Fellow of Government of India.
okay, sir. So, sir, since this entire session is about Jain art, I would really want to ask that what exactly is Jain art?
Some kind of echo is coming in your voice.
Is it audible now, sir?
You are audible, but your voice is echoing. Maybe due to maybe.
Okay. Sir, is it clear now?
Yes, better.
Sir, okay. So my first question to you is about Jain art. What exactly is Jain art?
I'm really thankful to your organization, which mainly consists of the students who are keenly interested in the study of Indian art in its various dimensions. So thanks to all of them and also the best wishes. We know that Indian history starts right from Indus Valley, even prehistory, but prehistory is before history. Indus Valley civilization, then comes Vedic period, the Vedas, of say about 1200 BCE. And during the Vedic period, we have two cultural, I would not call religious, cultural streams. One was in worshipping many gods and goddesses, Indra, Surya, Rudra, and all that, and aspiring for worldly things. And another was the Shramanic tradition, that was ascetic tradition, the tradition of austerity, renunciation, tyag. And from that came, during the subsequent period, the Shramana tradition, and the Shraman tradition went into two divisions, Buddhism as well as Jainism. So it is Jainism. And now when it started, they have the concept of 24 Tirthankaras. They are also called the Jinas. They are the Vitaragis, free from desire and passion. Earlier they were called Nirgrantha, free from all kind of bondage, worldly bondage, free. Arhat means eligible. And they form the center or nucleus of the worship in Jainism. Because they are the embodiment, or rather they signify the basic tenets of Jainism or Jain philosophy, which is Anekantavad, that the truth has to be manifold, several dimensions. We can't say that this is what I say is truth. So Anekant, that is Syadvad, and another focus was on the austerity, the deep tapas sadhana, drapery or cloths are also relinquished. So they form the nucleus of the Jain concept, tenets, and philosophy. Therefore, they become very important so far as Jain art is concerned. And at least to my mind, art is what? Art is just the visual transformation of the concepts, what we have in any particular religion. So the concept I have just explained was transformed into visual form, and that becomes pratyaksha, visible, we can see, and then comes the image. And through having the image, the point of worshipping the images come, and through worshipping, the followers satisfy them that they are following the path which has been prescribed for Jainism or in Jainism. And before I just enter into other discussions, I have some visuals and will try to show you what features they were having. The earliest image is a nude torso from Harappa, 2500 BCE. And from Mohenjo-daro, we have a number of ceilings wherein we find the figures standing, which is similar to the Kayasarga Mudra of the Jain images. So some scholars like T.N. Ramchandran, R.P. Chandar, they have taken the antiquity of Jain art to the Indus Valley period, 2500 BCE. It is a subject of question, because definitely we cannot identify them with the Jain images, but they are the images of the yogi or yogic tradition, Shramanic tradition, means Shramanic ascetic tradition was prevailing at those times. So let me show you some figures.
Okay, sir. So you can share your screen.
Just share few figures.
So look, there's a green button in the middle which says share screen.
Disabled participants. Host disabled participants.
It says that host is disabled for screen sharing. Is there any problem? I can't show any visual.
No, sir, I have done that. You can share it now. I've given the permission now.
Yes. You just find this is Harappa torso.
Yes,
The
sir.
socket was there, nudity is there, and hand must have been like this. So this figure was in Kayasarga Mudra, which is an exclusive posture of Jainism. And the posture of Tyag and Sadhana, the deep trance or deep meditation. So method is there, socket method here. And here is the earliest jinn image from Lohanipur, Patna, Bihar of 3rd century BCE, Ashokan period, with Mauryan polish. You find quite identity or similarity between the two. So this happens to be the earliest and was taken by some of the scholars to be identified as the earliest jinn image. May not be jinn, but it definitely suggests the Shramanic tradition. And the earliest comes in the Mauryan period. Again, it is in Kayosarga posture, standing erect with both the hands hanging down. Next, please. Next, please. Yes, here you find another posture, seated posture, in which is called Dhyana Mudra. Cross-legged with right hands put over the left hand. So the Jain images may be taken to be from the period of the Indus Valley with question mark, but definitely from the Mauryan period, and the earliest posture was the Kayosarga Mudra, and the second posture was this seated posture, Dhyan Mudra, in which we find the Buddha image as well. While the Kayosarga posture is standing erect with both the hands hanging down was exclusive to Jain art. So these two postures itself are suggestive of their main focus on the austerity, meditation, tyag, and sadhana. These postures. And what is important is that in definite terms, the antiquity goes to Mauryan period. It is supported by the inscription of Kharwel from Kaling, wherein we have the reference of the Kaling jinn image, 1st century CE, which was brought back by Kharwel from Magad, which is now Bihar, Patna. So 300 years, Tiva Sasat, 300 years before, any 4th century BC, through the inscription, through the Lohanipur image, the antiquity goes to 4th century BCE. And that way, what is the landmark important? 2 points to be noted. One is to my mind, the earliest cult image was carved in Jain art. And that was of the jinn. Not identifiable, but jinn. Because it came only subsequent that who is the jinn, whether Rishabhnath, Parshvanath, Neminath, that will come even subsequently. First, the jinn comes as a core concept. And second important point was that both the postures, Dhyan Mudra, in which we find even the Buddha images, but exclusive Kayosarga Mudra, these were the two postures in which right from the 4th century BCE, if not Indus Valley, down to the present day, all the jinn images of all the traditions, be Shwetambar, be Digambar, be Yapani, are shown only in these two postures. So this is the landmark because the main focus of Jainism or Jain tenet was on the asceticism, tyag, renunciation, sadhana, and parigraha, that is non-acquisition, non-possession. We know parigraha creates so many problems because then it becomes endless. We want to have as much as never to our satisfaction. We can never be satisfied with just possessing the things. The satisfaction will come only when you start renouncing the thing. The minimum to minimum of coming to zero, which could be seen only in Jain context, wherein the jinas are shown even unclothed. They become Digambar. And references in Rigved is there to Vatarashna Muni, whose drapery or vastra is just the sky, means they are nude, naked. So these two were the landmarks. Once antiquity, I told you, and then gradually it developed. And that development, perhaps you will be asking next. Next is, yeah, this is the subsequent images. I will show it and then we will discuss. This from Chausa, this from Mathura, and this is Shwetambar from Rishabhnath, Gupta period. Beautiful image, Akota, Gujarat. Then seated images, this graduate issue. Now gradually along with the jinn image, either seated in Dhyana Mudra, as we see here, or standing erect, as you see here, we find the 8 pratiharyas, the paraphernalia, including the cognizance, identifying marks as chin langshan, flyways bearing attendants, flying couples of the maladharas, hollow. So these ashta pratiharyas, the number of figures in the parikar or the background gradually increased, and the jinn images in course of development got complicated in terms of details and iconography. Perhaps 1 or 2 images you see. This is in Berlin Museum. This is from Khajuraho. Here you find the Navagrahas also, and number of figures increases. You can yourself see. This from South India, Gwalior. Shantinath, 12 feet, 14 feet image from Khajuraho. Even Mallinath in Shwetambar tradition, who was conceived at a later date, because they thought that all the Tirthankaras are the male ones, while we have a great following stream from the women. So this is some kind of discrimination in the religion, which we find in Buddhism and all that. So they just devised, say about towards 8th century, that we will have a Tirthankar who will be a female, and here is Malli Swami, Mallinath, 18th Tirthankar. So this is how the development goes. Antiquity, 4th century BCE, 2 exclusive portions are the landmark of the Jain art. No other cult in Brahmanism, Shaivism, Shaktism, or even Vaishnavism or Buddhism, we find the Kaisar Mudra, because their main concentration was over the Tirthankar, who were the main object of worship, highest in adoration, and they represented the austerity, renunciation, and aparigraha. So now I stop with the visual and will proceed with the question. You can have the next question.
Okay, sir. That was really informative. Now, sir, now that you have explained us that there are different features of Jain art, and just
I stop you. You say it is very informative.
Yes, sir.
Rather, you should, because you all are students, you should say it is very knowledgeable point and something what we did not know. That is
Okay,
the
sir.
main theme, main subject, what the main purpose of the art.
Yes,
Right.
sir.
Yes.
Next.
Yes.
Yes, sir. So now that you have enlightened us about the unique features of Jain art and architecture, we realize how Jain mythology and philosophy have influenced the art of Jainism. Because Jains were surrounded by different sects of Hindus and Buddhists, they must have drawn some ideas of other schools of religious art. Can you please tell us about the commonality and assimilation in Jain art from other religious traditions?
Of course, very interesting question. And here again, I'm going to tell you something what is unique about the Jain art. Earlier, I have told you Kausarg Mudra and antiquity, because they are credited with having the earliest cult image in Indian art. Right. The Jainas, with the 24 Tirthankaras being in the central concept, centering about the basic tenets, they have had to have other deities also, because like all other religions, Jainism also was required to have more and more following, more and more people coming towards Jainism. How to attract? So even presently, all the dharmacharyas do it. Be it Shri Shri, be it anybody. They need the following, they need the people around them. So do Jainism also. Because with only the path of austerity and renunciation, means the non-worldly concepts, how can any religion flourish and become popular among the masses? So for that, they have done so many things. And one out of so many, one was that they have shown their tolerance by way of assimilating a number of gods and goddesses in Jainism. Some of them suggest the point of commonality, like Lakshmi, Saraswati. Lakshmi is the goddess of prosperity, and Saraswati is the goddess of wisdom, knowledge. In every society, these two are the basic requirement or the need. First, if not much wealth, but at least that much wealth which keeps you going on with your worldly obligations. So Lakshmi is there, because the money is required for everybody who is householder or who has become sannyasi, because he is also to be catered by the domestic people, families. And then is the knowledge. If money is there and wisdom is not there, the discrimination, we cannot discriminate between what is good, what is bad, what is to be done, what is to be refrained from, right? This is wisdom, Nirakshira Vivechan, wherein we can have the best and we can leave the worst, adverse. So both were assimilated in Jainism. Ganesh, again, god of wisdom, removing the obstacles, he is there. The Ashtadikpalas, from Indra to Yam, Varun, Vayu, Kuber, Ishan, all are shown on Jain temples at cardinal points, like we find on the Brahminical temples. So these all were Brahminical deities, as well as they come from the Vedic tradition. So be it Jainism, be it Brahminical Vaishnavism, Shaivism, we cannot say that they did not derive, both derived the essential things from the Vedic, because that is the core, that is the beginning. So that was there. Navagrahas I have just shown you. Kuber is there. Way the assimilation was there. The point of commonality means you find Lakshmi in Brahmanism or tradition, in Jain art, in in Buddhist art. That is, Lakshmi is being worshipped. The earliest representation we find on Sachi Bharut Stupa and all that. And then is Saraswati. In all the tradition in Buddhist, Prajna Paramita. So here comes the commonality and the assimilation. And assimilation in 63 Shalaka Purushas, Trishashti Shalaka Purush. We have the text Trishashti Shalaka Purush Charitra of Hemachandra. Even Mahapuran of Jinbhadra and Gunbhadra, Digambar Shwetambar tradition. In all that, we find the list of the 63 Shalaka Purushas, means the great men, wherein we find Ram, Balaram, Krishna. We find exclusive texts being written on Ram and Balaram. Paumachari, the earliest. Padma Puran, Trishashti Shalaka Purusharita. Harivansh Puran deals with Krishna. So this is the commonality. Means they became Vedic friendly tradition. And in that course, they assimilated. I won't say borrowing. This is something just making the religion very practical. And in being practical, if something is attached with other sect, no problem. So the assimilation and community both are another very important features of Jain art. And we find the images of Lakshmi, Saraswati, Kuber, Ashtadikpal at all the sites, right from the Gupta period onwards, be it Khajuraho, be it Ellora, be it Shamar Belgol, anywhere. Dilwara. In Dilwara, we find the Krishna playing Holi in the ceiling, Vimal Vasai. Krishna killing the Kaliyanag. Neminath in water sport with Krishna. The Bal Leelas of Krishna in Lunavasai. So this is how the literature and art both assimilated, and with that they shown their tolerant character, and that character helped them to attract more and more people coming towards Jainism. We can go to the next.
Yes, sir. So, sir, several Jain scriptures from the earlier times mention the worship of Jina by adoring his images. While this might have been questioned at certain times of period in history in worship of Jina images, still remains the core of the religious life of several Jains today. So, can you please tell us the history behind how the Jina idol evolved to what we see them today, or how they are seen today?
Actually, your voice was just shaking.
Sorry, sir. Hanji, I will. So I was asking that several Jain scriptures from the earliest times mention the worship of Jina by adoring his images. Now, while this might have been a question at certain times time in period of the history, and the worship of Jina images still remain the core of religious lives of many and several Jain today. Can you please tell us the history behind how the Jina idol evolved over the period of time, or how do we see them today?
Actually, what we do, Jinas form the core of the Jain art and the Jain philosophy, religion, or Jainism. They are 24 in number, right from Rishabhnath being the earliest, 22nd being Neminath, having relationship with Balaram and Krishna, being cousins, Parshvanath, having association with Nag cult, folk cult, and then Mahavir Vardhaman, contemporary of Buddha. Jainism was, of course, older than Buddhism because Parshvanath is considered to be the historical one. So we worship them today, and for that I am very, very forthright in saying that we offer Dravya Puja, not Manas Puja. We do not offer mental worship. Mental worship means we promise, we are adamant, we decide to follow the path of the Tirthankaras, which is of austerity, non-acquisition, and renunciation. While the Jainas possess, we know how much. Even today, they go to the temple daily, offer certain material things. So that is Dravya Puja, material worship. That won't work. Because the Jainas are the Vitaragi, free from desire and passion. If you worship the Jainas, they are not going to give you any worldly material or any such blessing pertaining to having more and more wealth, more and more house, more and more cars. No, we are going futile. The whole purpose is defeated. And 80-90% Jainas are doing that. I'm sorry to say that. What for you should go to the Jainas? Just show me the path or the light of enlightenment so that we can take the path of austerity, renunciation. And we just take the path of having less and less and less possessions. But that is not there. Another thing is, whether it is a Jain image or a Buddha image or the image of Vishnu, Shiva, or for that purpose any deity, they are all the mental images, conceptual forms. Have anybody seen any of the Tirthankaras? And after that he has made the image? Has anybody seen Shiva, Vishnu, or even Buddha? No. All the images are mental images. The main core features which are prescribed, given in the text about the features of a particular Jinn or particular deity. On the basis of that, the form is being created. The visual form is being created. Do you get my point? So that visual form is a mental image of the society, of the texts, of the literature. In case of Tirthankar, actually, if you mix three things, yogi, character of the yogi, features of the yogi, features of Mahapurush, or features of Chakravarti. Yogi, the posture, yogic posture, Kayusarga Mudra, Dhyana Mudra. Mahapurush, long arms, the aura behind, right? And Chakravarti, if life is bearing attendants on both the sides, the lion throne, these are of Chakravarti. So if all put together and because Ajanu Lamb Bahu Shri Vasank Prashant Murtish, Brihad Sangita Gupta period says, he will be having long arms, Asagra Drishti. That Drishti itself is to know this, to get answer to this question, one has to get into one's inside. So that is very important, and that message is given by the Jinn image. But another very interesting point is that it was necessary again to have following, the more and more people coming towards Jainism, embracing Jainism. For that, the Vitaragi Jinn could not be the ideal model. because even present day society, who the Jainas who go to worship the Jinas in the temples, they seek, they ask for, they aspire for the wealth and so many worldly things, which could not be delivered, which could not be given by the Vitaragi Jinas. Then how to attract the masses? While most of them today and even ancient times, they knew our precept people around it as a follower. We must think of something which gives to the worshipper the worldly objects, the desired worldly things. And then they thought of having a yaksh and a yakshi on both sides of the jinn image. Jinn, either standing or sitting, will remain as it is, as Vitaragi. But yaksh on right, yakshi on left. They are there, and the Harivanshi Purana says that they were to give the worldly desired boons to the worshippers or the devotees. So the devotees coming to the Jinas, offering pranam, and if they want to have worldly things, the yaksh and yakshi are there, just close to them on the same line pedestal. And very intelligently, I tell you, that they were sure that from materialism to spiritualism, everybody will, a time will come when lead to that point, and then they would certainly need the figure, main figure, central figure of the Tirthankaras, which stand for the spirituality. And even we have the examples. अभी हाल में हमने सुना कई करोड़पति परिवार के लोगों ने एकाएक सारा संसार छोड़ दिया और उन्होंने जैन धर्म में दीक्षा ले ली. They have taken initiation in Jainism, took initiation and left everything. So there is a point. So that point was in their mind, and because of that, they thought of having a yaksh and yakshi. Another very interesting point. And just note down one thing, that while Buddhism, which started with the same motto, same objective, it started involving Buddha with the worldly things, and Buddha started giving Ashirvad, safety bestowing gesture, boon conferring gesture, Vardhan, and other worldly involvement, even the miracles he performed. But the Tirthankaras never did it. Never in any other posture, Abhay, Varad, nothing like that. Always the two postures, customary two postures of austerity and renunciation. So that was something very unique about Jain art, and it continued throughout. Even so many developments took place in Jain art, but the basic point was to sustain the basic tenets of Jainism through the Jain images, who were the Vitaragi and who remained throughout Vitaragis. Next question you may have.
Yes, sir. Now, sir, since you talked about Yaksh and Yakshi, and after the three Sankaras and the Jinas, the most popular set of deities in the Jain traditions are the Yakshis, and who are also considered the Yantra Dev in Jainism. And we know that they are at the service of the Thankaras. So among the Yakshis, Ambika or the Kushmandini, the Shasna Devi of the 22nd Sri Sankara Shri Neminatsi, occupies the position like no other. So can you tell us the origin of the cult of Ambika Devi Ji, or why was she so popular at that time?
I have got your question. I have talked about commonality. And we must not study any art or religion in isolation. A holistic approach is a must now. We must not make a partial view of the art and the literature and the tradition and the religion. No, the wholesome study concept, which I started from Vedas, how the things developed, and there developed Shaivism, Vaishnavism, and then Buddhism, Jainism, and all that. The two were in earliest worship. One was sun god. आज भी आपको मालूम है सूर्य से ऊर्जा और प्रकाश आप ले रहे हैं, without which we cannot live and survive. इवन कोरोना पीरियड में भी कहते हैं कि सूर्य की रोशनी में आप विटामिन ए लीजिए. तो दिस इज द इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ इवन जो सोलर एनर्जी को वी आर मेकिंग यूज ऑफ इट in various ways in 21st century. So sun, primeval, basic, and then comes mother, Ma, and Ma is Amba, Ambika. So mother worship started right from the Indus Valley period. By the Kushan Gupta period, it started taking the shape of a cultic flavor. And in cultic flavor, it was adopted in Brahmanism as Sapta Ashtamatrikas, in Buddhism as Hariti, again with two children, babies, to be shown with her, and Ambika in Jainism, associated with Neminath, having two babies, either one in lap and one standing by the side. In the Jain text, she is earlier called Bahuputrika, having many children. Because today it is a problem that we say that we should have one or two children. But in those days, in Vedic times, you find the mantras or the invocation of the god that give me 100 of we can go to the 3. So population is very important thing. Just sociological study. Should I go ahead?
I'm so sorry for my.
Should I go ahead?
Hello.
Then started the worship of Ambika, and Ambika became the most revered Yakshi of all the 24 Yakshis, because of the reason I have told. And therefore, not only right from the Gupta period, she is being represented with two child having a Amralumbi, bunch of mangoes. Again, you find in worship the bunch of mango being kept. It is symbolically suggestive of the procreative increase. So that is another point, the symbol and symbolic worship. So Ambika, not only, but Ambika was the most popular of all the Yakshis for the reason I have already explained. As an independent goddess. There is my book, Ambika in Jain Art and Literature, published by the Gyanpith. Therein you can find how Ambika Tatank, Ambika, but there are several independent texts were composed on Ambika, and Ambika at Devgarh, Khajuraho, Ellora, and all other Jain sites are carved in profuse number. So this was the reason why Ambika was given the highest and most exalted position in Jain art. Next.
Okay, sir. That was really nice. Saraswati or the Shruti Dev, as we know, is the personification of the teachings of the Sankars. And your paper, Saraswati in Jain Tradition Art, talks about the origins and evolution of Saraswati in Jain tradition, along with literary references to the goddess, and curiously, how this evolution can be traced via her iconography. Can you please throw some light on it?
I have earlier told, while dealing with the commonality, that Saraswati was assimilated, and Saraswati is what? Saraswati is the personification of the Vedic river Saraswati, on the bank of which all the yajnas, all the rituals, rites were performed. And that Saraswati, since the Vedic rites and rituals were performed, yajnas were performed, shastras were recited, when she was conceived, that river goddess, as a goddess personification, then we find what best could have been to be shown in her hand: the manuscript, the book, the symbol of knowledge. All the text is what? Text knowledge, personified knowledge. And another, what mount she was provided? It was swan, Hans. Hans is again symbolic, suggestive of knowledge. नीर क्षीर का ज्ञान है उसको, वो दूध और पानी में अंतर कर लेता है. So just see how intelligently they have done it, and it is again a matter of interest and further probing that why the earliest image of Saraswati, goddess Saraswati, is found in Jain context. From Mathura Kankali Tila, we find the image of Saraswati. The name Saraswati is written. She holds a manuscript. The other right hand is broken, but it looks that it was in the Vyakhyana Mudra, having the rosary. Saraswati is written. And socially very interesting is that it was installed by a female iron smith worker, Lauh Karmak. Again, that is the social point. So earliest image of 132, it is dated 132 CE AD, is from Mathura. And since she was the goddess of wisdom, she was taken as the presiding goddess of all the agamas, which are the symbol of the preachings of the Jainas. Then she became the presiding goddess of the agamic texts. Those agamic texts are nothing but the words of the Tirthankara. So this is how the iconography develops. It is not mere the formal development, only the features. This is to be seen. And once she has been accepted, and even earliest to Brahminical and the Buddhist context, it becomes very important that gradually she developed. And by the Gupta period and onwards, even from Mathura, Khajuraho, Devgarh, Ellora, Ummach, and at all the sites, she is being represented. having hums as Vahan on the pedestal, manuscript in one hand. She becomes from 2 to 4-handed. Then one is in Varat or Abhay Mudra, as we find with all the gods and goddesses, besides the Jain Tirthankaras. Other above will be a Vyakhyan Mudra, Akshamala, and the left or right upper will be holding a manuscript, and the lower left will be holding a water pitcher. So this is how the four-armed Lakshmi is visualized. But by 10th century, what happened? That Saraswati, I'm tracing the development. Saraswati, apart from being the goddess of wisdom and knowledge and holding hence the manuscript in one of her hands, was also taken to become the presiding goddess of music, dance, vocal, and then she was provided with the lute or veena. In Khajuraho, 6-armed figure, Devgarh, 4-armed figure, and even we have Pallu, great center. I suppose that Pallu in Rajasthan near Bikaner was the center of Saraswati worship. A number of Saraswati images are found from Pallu and around the other sites like Ladnu and other sites. Then Veena is provided. And not only, even Dilwara, Vimalvasai, Kumharia. And at third stage, what happened? That Saraswati was taken to become the presiding goddess of all the fine arts. Wisdom, music, and all the fine arts. And it is proved by one of the rarest image of Saraswati, 6-armed or perhaps 8-armed, in the ceiling of Vimalvasai corridor, wherein Saraswati with Veena and other attributes is being attended by 2 figures on both the sides, and their names are inscribed as Kela and Loyan, and they were the main sculptor and architect of the temple, who are standing with measuring rod and thread, all that. Means this is the gradual evolution which ends with which again is a unique feature, which in no other religion, in Brahmanism we don't find, in Buddhism we don't find. It is only in Jainism that they use their intellect, imagination, that from one form, when it proceeds with the advance in time, how and what could be added to give best to the society through the god or the goddess, through the figure of the Jainas. What best message we can give? Because those images, those are silent, but they speak. So we have to break their silence, and their silence speaks, and we will have to learn, we will have to know the language of silence, and then only we can understand. And all these are not necessarily found in the text. These changes, as goddess Saraswati being made presiding goddess of fine arts, with Kela and Loen on two sides, the main sculptor and architect of the image of Saraswati in Vimal Vasai ceiling, is the innovation on the part of the sculptor. And naturally, not exclusively sculptor, but the society or the acharyas of those times, they must have thought about it. And this sculptor has given the form. So this is how, and you won't find any site without the figure of Saraswati. Next question, please.
Yes, sir. So, my next question is about Center of Learning, Saraswat Sadhana Kendra, as you call it, Deoghar. You also refer to this place as Kalateek, a place where art flourished. The temples here are extremely important to trace the evolution of Jain pantheon, temple architecture, and some sculptures found here, those of acharyas and upadhyas, are seldom encountered elsewhere. Can you please share more about Deoghar and why is it so important?
Deoghar in Lalitpur district of Uttar Pradesh presently has been a unique site of long standing, where at the same time we find best Gupta temples, the Shautar, and another temple also of the same 6th, 7th century of Vishnu, Buddhist sculptures, but mainly the Jain sculptures ranging in date from about 7th, 8th down to the 18th century, 1000 years. Perhaps to my mind, no other center other than Mathura could be of that long antiquity or history. It's a unique. There we find thousands of Jain images with innovatory forms, with name in art, cognizance is broken, no other suggestive feature is there to identify, but figure of Balaram on one side and Vasudeva Krishna with this chakra on other side itself indicate that it is the figure of Neminath. Innovative forms of Parshvanath, such images wherein 2 or 3 Tirthankaras are shown in one single format image, who could be even 22nd, 23rd, 24th, Neminath, Parshvanath, Mahavir. Now again you see, we have talked about Saraswati. One image, rarest one is that in such three figures are in one single image. 1 and 2 are of the Tirthankaras, and the third one is Saraswati. So Saraswati is put at par with the Tirthankaras because she happens to be the goddess, presiding goddess of the agamic knowledge, means the preaching of the Jainas. No text endorses it, no text. Likewise, the figures of Bahubali, and in one case, again 3 figures in one image, Tritirthi image. 2 are Tirthankaras, 1 is Bahubali. Bahubali we all know, son of Rishabhnath. He was not a Tirthankar, he was merely Kevali. But he performed very rigorous austerity. And austerity went to the extent that the creepers entwined all his body, but he remained unshaken, unperturbed. Even the scorpions, snakes, lizards crept on his body, but he remained unshaken, unperturbed, absorbed in meditation. Just see, so deep meditation. When you are lost into yourself, when you enter into yourself, to know yourself, you are away from the world, material world. You know nothing. ध्यान भी यही कहते हैं, ध्यान में भी यही होता है। हम लोग रोज ध्यान करते हैं और ध्यान की मुद्रा में यही होता है कि अगर आप डीप ध्यान में आ गए तो यू बिकम टाइमलेस, टाइम को ट्रांसेंड कर देते हैं। एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दैट डीप ऑस्टेरिटी he became an object of worship. And the result, we see that the tallest image in Jain context is being made is not of a jinn but of the Bahubali, to give the model to the society that, well, even as a common person, he was not a jinn destined to be jinn. As a common person, if you take the path of austerity, renunciation and aparigraha, you will get elevated to the point that people will start worshipping you. Gandhi is being worshipped, Vivekananda Ji is being worshipped for not their worldly contributions, but spiritual contributions, which was for the entire society, humanity. When we become selfless in trance, then we become a real human being, and then you are being worshipped. So was the case with Bahubali, and therefore at Devgarh what happened, that two Tirthankaras along with him, the another was not of any Tirthankar but was a Bahubali was put. Bahubali at par with the Tirthankaras who were highest in Jain worship, innovative form. So it was an Saraswati image. So all these innovations must have been because of the contribution and presence of the open-minded Jain Acharyas of the Digambar tradition. Digambaras are sometimes or usually said to be conservative, but I don't find. At Khajuraho also I found. It means the Jain Acharya, they must have endorsed, because a great change they were, along with the Tirthankaras, they were going to put Saraswati in one image and Bahubali in other image. All together. And in one image at Devgarh, Bahubali is provided with Yakshi Yakshi like those of the Tirthankaras. So, because of that, I think it was a place of Saraswat Sadhana. A number of figures of the Jain Acharyas, Jain Upadhyayas, Jain Munis, and the independent image like that of the Tirthankaras of those Acharyas, Upadhyayas, sometimes in disputation, Shastrarth are shown, Shastra Charsha. Therefore, I think it was a great center of Saraswati Sadhana. And because of the presence of the Jain Acharyas, Moni Sangh, the traders must have been attracted. They were there. The common man was there. And all have collectively contributed immensely that thousands of Tirthankar images we find spread over at the site. Although the temples are not so big ones, but still the earliest, one of the earliest Jain temples of Shantinath of Vikram Samvat 919, equal to 862 CE, is there, whereon the exterior wall we find the earliest representation of the 24 Yakshis, who are provided with their names being inscribed, along with the figure of the respective Tirthankaras being inscribed above. A unique sight. And that could have happened, and no direct royal support. Indirect, some support could be found out. So it could have been possible only because of Devgarh being a very strong center of Saraswat Sadhana. all these could have been possible. And it's a unique site worth seeing. Everyone who loves Indian art, Indian tradition, and especially those who are Jainas, must visit Deoghar. Next.
Yes, sir. So, in many of your works, you mention the concept of image of composite characters. So, one image which shows characteristics of two Tirthankars. Can you please tell us about such images and their provenance and how you discovered them?
Yes. The making of composite images, because Indian culture is a composite culture. Either we have taken a narrow path that we are exclusive. No, we have taken the path of exclusiveness, while Indian culture and art was to show the path of inclusiveness, Samaveshi, assimilating everything with vigorous give and take process. So when cult developed from the Kushana period, cult means like we have I within ourselves. I am Maruti. I is to be subdued. One has to become selfless. And this is the key to the worship of the Jainas or any deity. So cultic development developed I. This is my Vishnu. I am follower of Vaishnavism. If I am follower, we are not. I am follower means the who are the follower of the Jainism are opposed to you, or you take them as opposed to you. Then again, the society, religion is what? It is the outcome of the society, the thinking of the society. And it is created by some genius, acharyas, upadhyayas, shastra knowing people. They do it for the welfare of the society, not for their own benefit. Don't take them to be present acharyas. They think of.
I have one more question.
Anyway, no, it is not. It is not the end. So, because of that, it became necessary. In Kushana period, we have the image of Ardhanarishwar, then Gupta period, Harihar, composite. And the Jainas, right from the Kushana period, like the Brahminical faith, have attempted at composite image, and that was the Pratima Sarvato Bhadrika or Chaumukhi Murti, wherein we find 4 Tirthankaras standing on 4 sides, all the 4 sides. One image, composite. And that represents Rishabhnath, Parshvanath are identifiable, and rest 2 are Neminath, Parshvanath. Because at that time, Kushana period, the cognizance was not evolved, but name and Mahavir. And the process Tritirthi image I have just together, again composite. Harihar Pitama images also we find from Ellora in the same way. Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. One Tirthankar, second Tirthankar. And also they attempted like Ardhanarishwar, wherein right half will be of Shiva, left half will be of Parvati. At Rajgir, particularly, wherein Tirthankar having 7-hooded snake canopy, 5-hooded snake canopy, Parshvanath, is having the cognizance horse, elephant, means Parshvanath, Ajitnath. Bull, Rishabhnath, Parshvanath. Two Tirthankaras in one single format with the features, exclusive features of both the Tirthankaras, composite form of two Tirthankaras. This is again a very unique contribution of Jain art. Next, please. I think perhaps time is over now, but anyway.
Last question, sir. Sir, another important center for Jainism in Bundelkhand region is Khajuraho, which is now a World Heritage Site as declared by UNESCO. So your research shows that once upon a time there were 25 Jaina temples here, which of only few survived. And can you take us back to the heydays of Khajuraho when, along with Hinduism and Buddhism, Jainism flourished here, and also how Trantic tradition influenced Jainism in this particular site region?
Khajuraho, I have been to a maximum number of times. I have organized an international seminar on art of Khajuraho at Khajuraho itself in 1987. So I can speak for hours and hours. But anyway, within 5-10 minutes, I will finish. Khajuraho, under the patronage of the Chandel rulers, developed a number of, and it is said that it was having originally 85 temples. Presently, 25 are extant, are surviving. So far as 85 of 85, 25 are surviving. What about the rest? In excavation, few temples of Shiva and others came up, just adding to the number. Likewise, I have undertaken extensive survey at Khajuraho alone, as well as along with my research scholar who is presently assistant professor in Banaras University, Dr. Shanti Swarup Sinha, and have noted that at least 40-50 door lintels are found of Jain temples, who were part of the Jain temples. Pillars are found, the images are found. The doorways and door lintels suggest that it was a part of a Jain temple. If temple is big, it will have 2 door lintels, or the mandap. Taking all, we are having 2, and 3 temples are extant. Ghantai, earliest 950. I take it to be of the time of Yashovarman. Then Parshvanath of the time of Dhang. And the third, Adinath, of the time of Vidyadhar. But besides these 3, Shantinath temple is there, having the ancient doorways and all that, the very, very magnificent 14-feet high image of Shantinath with polish, glaze. But what about those door lintels? They itself speak that they were the form of the Jain temples during the Chandela period. And therefore, at the minimum, I take 21. These are spread in modern Jain temples there, in Jordan Museum, in Archaeological Museum. We can see it. I have calculated it. And apart from 4 Jain temples, Shantinath, Parshvanath, Adinath, Ghantai, 21 other Jain temples were there. Maybe that those were of not that big dimension, not big ones. And therefore I say that 25 Jain temples were there, and the rest we can attribute to the Brahminical temples, because that also is gradually coming true. So it was the big center of not only cordial relationship between the Brahminical, the rulers of Brahminical faith, like Yashovarman, Vidyadhar, this Vidyadhar, Dhang, who encouraged, promoted Jainism as their main way or function of tolerance in terms of religion, and also because the traders Jain community were very strong, were having very strong hold in. And the evidence is the Parshvanath Jain temple, which is one of the best Jain temples. Sometimes it is taken to be better than the Lakshman temple, which is actually Vaikuntha Vishnu temple. That was made by the trader Pahil. Pahil was honored by the then King Dhang. Maharaj Jain Vasav Chandra was Maharaj Guru. Just you see the cordial environment. Because that a tolerant, cordial involvement only helps develop the things in a harmonious way. And because of that, we find an inscription of Pahil, who has donated 7 gardens. You will be surprised to know that the names of those gardens are Dhangavatika of the king, Shankar Vatika, Panchayatan Vatika, Pahil Vatika. So itself the cordial relationship. And further, last point is that when we go around Parshvanath Jain temple, beautiful Jain temple worth seeing, you all must visit that temple, and of course visit Khajuraho, World Heritage Site. You would find along with the Jain figures, the figures of Ambika, the independent figures of Vishnu, Balaram, Shiva, Brahma, and even Kam, the god of love, with their respective Shaktis, spouses, in Alingan pose. And even the erotic sculptures, Brahminical impact. So on Jain temple, Brahminical deities enormously represented suggests what? How cordially, how harmoniously they were living in those times. And just think what we are doing in 21st century, the age of globalization, world is a village. These are the words. This should not be the words and the concepts. It should be the actuality. And that actuality was in better shape in those ancient times. What we can see at Devgarh, Khajuraho, Ellora, Shamanbelgol, and what not. So please, my request is to all the Jainas is that please offer Dravya worship, because that is a part of rites and rituals. But apart from that, try to attend the Bhava worship. the worship of concept of the Vitaragi genus, asking, requesting, praying to show the path of Vitarag. How and to what extent we can go ahead. We cannot be the Tirthankaras, the Jainas, who are predestined. But those paths, we can't be Mahatma Gandhi. Ahimsa, where from they have taken? From Jainism. Usually it is, whenever we talk about Ahimsa, we talk about Buddhism. And we forget Jainism. While the Ahimsa, the concept of Ahimsa in Jainism is more intense, wide. So please bhav worship. And then you will have the real pleasure, Anand. With this I end. नमस्कार. आप सब ने ध्यान से सुना और जो कुछ भी मैं, क्योंकि मैंने सब बहुत देखा है, बहुत यात्राएं की हैं, मेरा अपना अनुभव है और अब अनुभव से तो मैं कहीं ना कहीं प्रकृति से आज किसी जैन से कहीं ज्यादा जैन हो गया हूं अपने जीवन में, पढ़ते पढ़ते बताते बताते हो गए। और आप तो रोज पूजा करते हैं, हम हनुमान की पूजा करें और हमको भक्ति की परिभाषा न मालूम हो, नहीं चलेगा। तो with this I think I have done whatever I was supposed to. Okay.
So that was really beautiful. And Ahimsa Paramo Dharam, the basis of Jainism. And so some people are saying, thank you so much, sir, for bestowing your knowledge to us. Thank you so much, sir. Great question session.
My pleasure sharing my views, my experience, my inner experience. It was more. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So
If any questions?
Yes, sir, they have some questions. So, sir, somebody is asking, how old is the word Jain? What was Jain Dharma called earlier?
No,
then,
actually you are not very clearly audible, you see.
Sir,
Am
I audible now?
Yes, say.
Somebody is asking, how old is word Jain? What was Jain Dharma called earlier?
Right. Earlier it was not Jain. Jain came at the last. The first expression is Shraman Parampara, Shraman, Nirgranth. Then in Kushan inscriptions, no Jain, we find Arhat. And then came Jin, and first it occurs in 1st century BCE in Kharvel inscription. The expression is Kalinga Jin. He brought back Kalinga Jin, means the Jin which was taken away from Kalinga Jin image from Magadh. So 1st century BCE, Kharvel inscription.
So somebody is asking, Bhagwan Mahavir happened some 2600 years ago, but we find idols today older than period of that. Kangra Fort Jain Mandir, 5000 years old idol of Bhagwan Adinath. So how can you say that these are mental images of Jinan? Abhishek is asking this question.
Not very.
Sir, is it clear now?
Vibration is always there with your voice. But anyway, if you are talking about 5000, so any image in any temple of 5000, if I have correctly listened, is not known to me. And what was other point?
So they are just asking ki how can you say that mental images of how can you say that these are mental images of Junaid? The kind of
Mental,
cultures.
I have explained. Nobody has seen, and it is said in Shwetambar texts, Avashyak Niyukti, and other texts, even Trishashti Shalaka Purusham, about Jivanta Swami image, who is not Tirthankar, but prior to renunciation, he remained in the palace and performed austerity in Kayosarg Mudra, in royal insignia, mukut and all that. So it is said that the first image of Jivanta Swami was made in 6th century BCE during his lifetime. But this reference itself is not old ones. Before the Gupta period, we don't find any reference to the worship of Tirthankar image. But the earliest image, Harappan image, maybe of the yogi, maybe of the Shramanic Parampara, but not for definite. Definite is the Mauryan image, and mental image is when we thought of that our Tirthankaras are worthy of adoration. We have not seen. After 6th century BC, we thought of having a Tirthankar image. Then how to make him? I have referred to Brihad Samhita. Rupavan, he should be handsome, beautiful, Tarun, young, energetic. All the deities in the Indian tradition are young and energetic because that attracts the worshippers. Even your personality attracts. That is also important. So personality is there. He has to be Surup, Tarun, Sundar, and he is a yogi. Meditation. So Dhyan Mudra or Kausar Mudra, he will. The posture itself is suggestive of. Then some features of Chakravarti. We should look like someone separate from the others common. Flybase bearing attendants, lion throne, सिंहासन. आज भी शंकराचार्य आते हैं तो देखिए कि सिंहासन एक सिंबॉलिक बनाया जाता है और एक चामर लेके कोई खड़ा होता है. That tradition is continued. और महापुरुष प्रभा मंडल, hollow, long arms, half shut eyes, placid look, inward look. So all these were converged into one, and with a beautiful personality, proportionate personality. A jinn was carved. Rather earlier, Ashokan inscription says Arhant. Donations he has made. Arhat in Kushan inscriptions. But in 1st century BC, this jinn, Kalinga jinn shabd has come expression, and from jinn has come up the jinn.
So one last question. Can you tell us about Dharma Chakra on the hands of Tirthankar in central India?
Dharma Chakra in the hand of is not like holding nut. Dharma Chakra was, we have the concept of the auspicious symbols. Swastik is there, Shrivats to be shown in the chest of the Tirthankar as a distinguishing mark is there. Water pitcher, Jal Kalash is there. Pair of fish is there. And likewise Dharma Chakra is there. Dharma Chakra Ayagpat is there. So Dharma Chakra is an auspicious sign. As an auspicious sign, it was sometimes shown in the palm of the Tirthankaras. As an auspicious mark. And that Dharma Chakra is again could be seen in the center of the Singhasan lion throne, near which we find the cognizance. If it is Rishabhnath, bull will be there. And with bull, you will find a Dharma Chakra. Dharma Chakra symbolically suggests the religion, the discourse propounded by the Tirthankar. Propounded by the Tirthankar. And that is not static, that is always maybe moving. Because you see, it is the dharma which regulates the society. And that dharma is being propounded. These elements were given in the form of the sermon by the Jainas. And the same is the explanation in case of the Buddhist images, Buddha images. There also we find dharma. So commonality. Okay?
Yes, sir. I mean, there were so many things that I never knew. And
Thank you. I also enjoyed talking and just giving, because now I'm at the age when I should give whatever I have gained throughout my life. So
yes,
this
sir.
is what I, and in terms of the concepts more than the formal details. Okay, thank you. So
Thank you
I
so
leave.
much, sir.
Rita.
No, sir, I can end the meeting. It'll end for everyone then.
Please.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.